Just Do One, Lowering Your Standards and Using Patterns from Addictions to Achieve Success, written by Khatzumoto, posted in January of 2008. I'm not the first guy to ever write about this kind of thing, not the best and not the last, but let's give it a shot. I don't know if it comes out in this blog, but I can actually be a bit of a perfectionist, and this is a bad thing. I have over 300 drafts in my Gmail inbox that are not quite right, and therefore not sent. I have about 40 long posts for this blog that have yet to see the light of the internets. There are pages upon pages of comics that have not been put up because they are not good enough. Are we seeing the pattern here? The problem with perfectionism in all its forms is that it creates this incredibly high standard, whereby you either meet the standard or you do not do the job at all, or something like that. And you see the entryway to perfectionism in statements like, do it properly or not at all. I used to love that phrase, but now I freaking hate it. No, now I say do it. When I look at how most of my projects were failing, it wasn't from half-donkeyedness. No, it was from sadness brought about by standards that were functionally impossible to meet in anything but ideal conditions. My projects weren't dying from chronic malnutrition, they were dying from outright starvation, preceded by some guilt-induced starve-binge cycles. And when I say project death, I mean everything starting from the daily level to the long term, since a long-term project is nothing but a sequence of daily tasks and sub-projects anyway, but more on that later. One of my largest continuing projects is the Japanese and Chinese project, and part of that involves doing my daily SRS reps. I noticed that I generally either did 0 reps or all my reps, but rarely anything in between. Multiple consecutive days of 0 reps were starting to eat away at my conscience and no doubt my skill. Why? Because I always set out with the goal to do all my reps. Listen to Chinese every available waking hour. This is a good goal in terms of being noble, but sucky in terms of fragility, because stuff happens. Stuff happens, and when it does, people, I, tend to throw in the towel. All or nothing, remember? And this is bad. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Some days you're tired, the end is so far, yeah. You do your reps, but you're not fluent yet, so what do? Do 1 rep. Just 1. Lower your standards. As Tony Robbins once said, make it easy to make you happy. Lower the threshold at which you will say, yes, I am pleased. Why? Because the more you relax the conditions for you to be happy, the more of the time you will be happy. And ironically, by extension, the more productive you'll be. Think of when you do something bad, something that wastes time. No one ever goes, right, I'm going to smoke 37 kilograms of crack today. Or, right, I'm going to spend the next 72 hours surfing the internet with no sleeping or showers. No, it's always one more game. Just one. One more hit, click on one more link. One more round, one more bottle of whatever it is people drink. One more round. When you decide to do one of any small thing, inevitably you find it's easy. In the case of things like drugs and gambling, it doesn't seem to hurt, maybe it even seems fun, so you go on. In the case of something good, like doing your SRS reps, it's exactly the same, so rather than say, I'm going to do X number of reps today, just say, I'm going to do 1, and take it from there. I was standing at the train station the other day, and the overhead announcement goes, the rapid train to Narrated Airport will be arriving soon. And I went, well then, arrive already, just to be funny. And then it struck me right there that generally, at an everyday level, in terms of the small things we succeed at every day, we don't so much talk about arriving somewhere as we do about going there. We don't write down in our daily planner, arrive at the supermarket. We write, go to the supermarket. But in terms of the bigger things that we seem to fail at, like doing our language practice or making a kajillion euros, the goal statement is often too big and not backed up by the baby steps that compose our daily lives. So don't say exercise today. Say step outside the door. Computer geeks know what I mean. If you're not careful, outside just doesn't happen some days. Sit in front of the computer one bright and sunny morning and get up about 2 minutes later and think, what the dark? Especially if there's enough milk and frosted flakes in the house. Don't say do homework, say solve one problem. Don't say make a kajillion euros, say make €1. Don't try to arrive at your goal, just try to go there. And congratulate yourself for it. Give yourself credit for only getting it partially right, partially done. And I think you'll find that arriving there will take care of itself. Because think about it, you can't only give yourself credit when you get things completely right. Or, well, you can and many people do, but that's a recipe for sadness. Especially since most of your life will be spent in the state of working on incomplete projects. So don't wait to praise yourself for the whole, or you'll be waiting too long. Praise yourself for the small, incomplete things you're doing right here and now. I've often said that someone learning a new language is a baby. Now that I think about it, so is someone doing anything new. And by new, I mean for the first time today. You're a baby, man, and you were born this morning, haha. No one yells at a baby trying to walk, telling her that her posture sucks, and if she has the audacity to call that bipedal locomotion, well then she better think twice, missy, because that Jones's baby started walking when she was only 6 months old, and at this rate, she'll be in the bottom percentile of walkers. She'll never get into a good kindergarten, or good elementary school, or high school, or college, or job. She'll end up getting pregnant at 11 and marrying an abusive biker and serving jail time for an escalating spiral of antisocial behavior from shoplifting to drug peddling to armed robbery, all because she didn't walk straight when she was a baby. So give yourself credit for only getting it half right, especially since no one else will. Be your own mother, the loving kind rather than the beauty pageant kind. Good, look at you, smiley face.